Falls Council, and I'll begin with the land acknowledgement. On November 28, 2022, we acknowledge the sacred land on which Smith Falls is now located has been a site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We are grateful to our Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might meet here today. We're also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in making the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smith Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all the relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nature building through peace and friendship and being mindful of generations to come. So we'll begin the meeting. We have regrets from Mayor Panko tonight, but we have full council otherwise. So CEO Morris, could you chime in with staff that are with us?
Yes, certainly. We have with us Director McMunn, Director Costello, our Manager of Water and Wastewater, Jason Barlow, and Nadine Bennett, our Deputy Clerk.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll begin. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none. Any disclosures of monetary interest arising from the agenda tonight? There are none. We have no delegations. We have no adoption of minutes. I understand we have two directors' report. The first one will be with Director Costello. Director Costello, you're on.
Thank you. Two quick reports this evening. The first is a reminder that the deadline is coming for the 2023 community grants or municipal grants. Any organization that would like to put forth an application can do so, and it can be found online or by contacting the clerk's office. As a reminder to council, and as an update for the new members, we always set aside 1% of taxation. So in 2023, we have approximately 173,000 budgeted for our municipal grant program. So again, deadline is November 30th at 4:30, and anybody who would like an application can visit our website or contact Deputy Clerk Bennett or myself. Second is an update for council. We did not receive enough applications for our boards and committee appointments. It was due last week. So we are extending the deadline. So anybody who would like to submit an application for one of our boards and committees, we would be thrilled if you did so. The application is online, or again, can contact the clerk's office. We would like to bring a report forward December 12th to formally appoint members to our various boards and committees. Those are my reports.
Okay, any questions, Councillor McGuire?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Director Costello. Sorry, what's the new deadline for the committee to join a committee?
Well, I haven't set a firm deadline, but we'd like to bring it forth December 12th, which would mean the report would have to be written by the 7th. So if anybody's interested, I would say by the 5th or 6th, if they could please get their applications in, as we do vet them through the staff resource as well. So we do need a bit of buffer time.
Okay, that's great news. I had some people reach out, so I'll pass it along. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I would just ask, does that mean that the council appointments to committees will be on that date as well?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Great, thank you. And I believe CEO Morris, you have a report for us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So it's with mixed emotion that I announce we have some changes occurring amongst our staff complement at Town Hall. We have two recent retirement announcements. The first is our Treasurer, Janet Kozeel. Janet's been with us for just around 19 and a half years and has decided to retire at year end. So very large shoes to fill, especially with budget coming up. So we are working on an interim measure to bring in an interim treasurer to help us shepherd the budget process and the audit and year end and all those things that keep Treasury busy in the early part of the year. So so we wish Janet all the very best in her retirement. At the same time, Mr. Art Manhire has signaled his intention to retire again at year end. So we are working on filling that rather large void as well. Art's been with us for just over 8 years and has accomplished many things. So we're looking at this as an opportunity for renewal. And I can share with committee that I am working on a reorganization of the administration. The retirements present an opportune time to do that. We've also made tweaks over the last couple of years to respond to pressure points within the organization. So it's time to bring all that together into a new structure that will serve us into the future. So more to come on that over the next couple of weeks, but I just wanted to extend a public acknowledgement and extend my gratitude to both Janet and Art on taking that next big step in their lives. So thanks to both of them.
Thanks.
Thank you. And any comments, questions from colleagues? Seeing none, I'll just say that both of these individuals were great to work with for me. Director Cozio in Treasury. I don't think there's any more responsive to inquiries from me or any of my colleagues to technical issues. She's always been right on it. And to Director Manhire, all the best. And I want to thank him personally for his work at the dog park, because he's made it bigger and better than I ever imagined. So I wish them both the best, and I'm sure we all do. So thanks for that. Okay. We have no correspondence items. We have no in-camera issues. We have 3 priority issues. 8.1 is an update on banking permissions, and that would be with Director Costello again.
Thank you. As council will know, we do have to pass a formal resolution to allow both council members and staff members to perform certain banking duties. So to that end, obviously, we have a newly elected council, and we've had some changes with staffing. So I'm looking to update that resolution for our bank. Looking to update it by adding our new bylaw enforcement officer, Isaac Taylor, and as well with the newly elected council, I'm looking to update to have 2 members of council act on behalf of council for signing checks and banking documents. We do have Mayor Panko, but looking to have 2 council members who would be able to sign in his absence. Normally look for somebody who's normally, if he's away on vacation or is just out of town or at a meeting, that's when we would call upon you to sign these banking documents. So if I'm looking to have two members volunteer for this task, Councillor Brennan, you've done it in the past term as well. So if anybody is available for this task, we would like to include your names in the resolution.
Okay, thank you. So 2 volunteers, please. I will say that I've been on that, and I don't know that I've had to do it maybe once or twice. So I see Councillor Robinson put his hand up.
Yeah, I'll sign up for that.
Okay.
One more.
I will.
More.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Councillor Quinn and Robinson.
So that will come forward at the next council meeting as a motion.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Good.
Thank you.
Great. We'll move along then. 8.2 is the wastewater treatment plant headward screening project report with Jason Barlow. And I think Director McMunn is going to take over. Am I correct?
Sorry, actually, Jason.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jason.
I'm here. Thank you,
Very good.
Chairperson, members of the council. Tonight I bring forward report 2022-154. And the purpose of this report is to obtain direction from council to tender the wastewater treatment plant headwork screening project, as well as provide projected 2023 capital funds that are required for the project to proceed in 2023 as recommended by staff in option number 1. Some background, the screens, current screens at the wastewater plant are in need of replacement. We've been working on this project since prior to 2020, but this project was put on the sidelines until we finished our PLC project, and that is now almost at completion. So we are ready for the next step to start putting in some of the fixes that are required throughout the plant, and this will be one of the larger projects in that pile to move forward so that we can ensure that the plant will operate as required. As stated, there were two options. So option one is the recommended option, which is to tender the project requiring the projected commitment of 2023 financial capital. Option number two is not to tender or increase the capital budget requirements for 2023. So the recommendation is that Council of the Corporation, the Town of Smith Falls, direct staff to proceed with the tender of headwork screening equipment project for the water pollution control plant as presented in report 2022-154.
Thank you, Jason. Questions and comments from my colleagues? Councillor Quinn and then Councillor McKenna, I think.
I read the report, and we did discuss it when we were on our tour of the town facilities, and it seems as if it's definitely something that needs to be done just to keep everything working properly, so that in the future we don't have problems. It's just good maintenance, it sounds like to me. So I'm very much in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McKenna, thumbs up. And just to make a point that, and thank you for that tour, by the way, because it was an eye opener and I've done it a couple of times, and it's always good to know what's going on and the complexity of your operation. But the $550,000 was already approved for the capital budget this year. So what we're talking about is another 225, right, to be approved. So of course, I'm going to be in favor of that. So nodding heads or thumbs up from everyone.
Yeah.
Good. So that will be, again, part of the next council meeting. Oh, CEO Morris.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clarify that Mr. Barlow brought this forward because we have good reason to believe the project is going to exceed the approved budget. So it's more of a notice that we'll likely need more money. We are not asking for pre-budget approval this evening. We want the tendering process to take its course, and hopefully we'll get competitive pricing. Yeah. But we expect it to be somewhat more than 550. So the relevance of that statement is will depend on how quickly we move forward with the budget process. So as I mentioned moments ago, we're looking at bringing in an interim treasurer to shepherd the budget process. And if the stars align and the budget's approved before we go to award, then all will be good. If it doesn't, we may come back for pre-budget approval. So okay. Just want to give a heads up, kind of the path forward on this project. It's a big project. And we certainly expect competitive pricing, but chances are it's going to exceed 550.
Thanks for that clarification, Councillor Robinson.
Thanks. Jason, I just have a question. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but with the new screen pack, the step screens, if there's a savings of 10 to 30 minutes every 24 hours due to, not having to be operated, have you got any idea, like, as to a projection as to how much that would save us over the course of a year?
I did not put together, we can put something together. I did not put anything together to see what the projected savings are for the screens. There are different areas with the washing and everything else that might kind of contribute to that, but it's all relevant, and within the usage of hydro at the wastewater plant, I wouldn't see a dramatic increase one way or another.
Okay, I was just wondering. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Any other questions? I think they'll come forward next council meeting then. Great. Moving right along, 8.3, the strategic planning report, CEO Morris.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. So every 4 years, we have this discussion, and we wanted to get off early in your term to talk about strategic planning. And certainly from a staff point of view, we would highly encourage council to pursue planning on a strategic level. We did it for the last 2 terms of council, and I think by all accounts, it served us well in terms of defining what's important and what we're going to focus on. So the recommendation is to begin that process sooner rather than later. And there's a lot in the report. I won't go through it, but I would just say that strategic planning is about predicting what the future is going to look like and preparing for that future. That's essentially what we want to do. And of course, the 7 of you can author what the future of the town looks like. So it's a good opportunity to think about that and put it on paper and make some commitments to what's important to you for the next 4 years. Although I would encourage, as always, to think well beyond 4 years. Many of the large items that we work on are multi-year. They span councils, they span staff tenure as well. So I really want to encourage this group to think large and big scale and long term. Having said that, we need to distill that into something that you want to accomplish in the next 4 years. So I've outlined the process in the report. I won't go through it all, but we are suggesting that we start with a facilitated session on January 11th. That's a Wednesday. During the day, it's probably a 6 to 7 hour process. We've used the Queen's Executive Decision Center in the past, and I like their process. I like the preparation. We all go into it, with an idea of what's in front of us. And usually, by the end of the session, we have a number of strategic priorities that need some refining, but at least represent the bulk of what you would want to accomplish. If it takes longer, that's great too. But typically, it's a fairly rapid process, and the technology that's used is really conducive to collaborative decision making, where people can express their opinions and we vote on things. It's very democratic. So it's a really enjoyable process from my perspective, and I would highly recommend that we employ it this time around as well. So I've also outlined a few key dates beyond that. Clearly we would suggest that we go out to the public, engage the public in what you come up with to get some feedback. Following that, we would want to engage with staff to understand how do we make it work. I'm a big believer in including staff, not only for buy-in, but obviously the staff know how to get things done, and it would be important to understand from them how they see, not picking the priorities, but deciding how we get there, how we accomplish it, what are the resources we need, what's the budget resource, staff resource, and so on. So I think that's an important part. Then we would bring it back and we'd integrate it with our performance management system and our budgeting process. We'd put together a monitoring program, but we could safely and confidently have this wrapped up by early April. That gives you a lot of time to then implement the plan. So, again, I'm recommending the Queen's Executive Decision Center. They've given us a quote for $6,200 to do 2 facilitated sessions, one with council, one with staff. If it takes longer, we can certainly take more time. So it's relatively inexpensive when you consider that our budget is about 26 million a year. So over 4 years, you're going to be responsible for spending well north of $100 million. 10,000 is a very, very small investment to make sure that you're making sound, strategic, good policy decisions. So with that, and if that's agreeable to committee and council, I'm looking for 2 volunteers along with the mayor to help plan the session. I think it's really important that we do some upfront work so that when we all go into the room and lock the door, we know what is expected of everyone. We know the process, and when we come out, we have something we can all be comfortable with. There will be some homework before the event, so part of this facilitation planning group is to work on what that homework might be. So I'm looking for 2 volunteers, and with your approval, we can get started right away and prepare for January 11th.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Miller?
Thank you. Thanks, TAO Morris. I had a quick question. First of all, I support your recommendations. As a staff, I was part of that strategic planning process last time, and it was really well done and very efficient. Will we as a council see the final report on this current strategic plan prior to developing the next one?
Yes, through the chair. Yes, great question. So we reported out to the previous council in October, I believe it was. So we can redistribute the status of the old plan. So yes, that would be good background, because quite rightly, there are a lot of projects that are already underway. So we would need direction from this council as to whether we continue with those projects, modify them or not. So so that'll be part of the pre-planning package that we deliver.
And I'd be happy to help if no one else throws up their hand.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor McGuire.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Thanks, CEO Morris. This was one of my favorite things we did in the last term, and for the price tag, I don't think there's anything that's going to give us better value over the next 4 years. So excited to see it and very supportive. I know last time we did it on a Saturday. I'm wondering if this is an option or something people will be interested in, and I'm willing to help on that subcommittee if there's a need there. So.
So through the chair, we could do it on a Saturday. We had planned, I think, a Wednesday in this case, but if the consensus is a Saturday, we could, I can go back to the facilitator and see if he can make that work, but I would seek direction from committee on that.
Okay. Councillor McKenna.
Yeah, I have no trouble with Wednesday or Saturday. If it meant that we were going to be without a member, I would move it to a weekend. But if people could accommodate through the week, I'm fine with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd volunteer as well, but I'll defer to my colleagues. But and either day is fine. And I think that gone through this twice. The Queen's group does a absolutely terrific job, and the other part of it is it's really good. It's good team building for us, and we talk and we go through things. The other part of it that I really like is the public engagement, because you know, we're going to be talking about things maybe that are outside the box, and if we do, and I'm sure we will. Then I'd like to hear from the public on that as well. So I think I've got Jennifer and Christopher and me. If you guys feel strongly, I'm fine with you guys going forward with it.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Great.
You got your direction. You don't need anything from a council meeting after this, do we? Or do we have to pass a motion?
Yeah, it would be best if council passed a resolution.
Okay.
Because we are sole sourcing this,
Yep.
a small amount. But if we could get direction on the day of the week, I know our facilitator gets really busy in January. So if we're going to change it, I could reach out to him right away.
Okay, Councillor Quinn.
I have no problem. Wednesdays are great for me. Just if we're going to do it on a Saturday, need to know ahead of time so that I don't book anybody in that particular day, but I can make either day work.
Yeah. Councillor McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just picking up on what CEO Morris said about Eric, the facilitator. He's booking out like not just weeks, probably months.
Yeah.
So if it would be more his schedule, I think, than us. But I don't know if Councillor McGuire has any flexibility, but just I know it was booked to get him just a placeholder because he is so heavily booked.
Thank you. Councillor Robinson, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, I did. Thanks. If Chris doesn't have any flexibility, I mean, I'm more than happy. I can do it anytime. So,
yeah, I'm looking at two of my colleagues who actually have a career So I'll look to you to see if Saturday's preferable, we can try for that. And if the facilitator is available, I don't think my other colleagues have a problem with it, and I don't either. So, Councillor Miller?
If it works best for Chris, I can make it work, but like someone else said, I do need to know sooner rather than later.
Okay. Okay, so maybe we could leave it as CO Morris, you could check with him for the Saturday. I don't know what that is, the 13th or 14th. And if availability is there, we could go with that. If not, then we'll let our colleagues know that it's going to be the 11th. How's that?
Sounds good.
I will attempt to get an answer tomorrow and let everyone know.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Good. And we'll have a motion to for next council meeting. So that's that. And we're done. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn this committee of the whole. That we adjourn at 5:28 or something, and stand so adjourned until the next duly called meeting of council. Moved by Councillor Quinn, seconded by Councillor McGuire. All in favor? We're good. Enjoy the holiday train.
Thank you.